Good evening, good evening, good evening. How are we all doing tonight? We've been having a bit of a chat in the chat already. Chat in the chat. I've been having a chat in the chat. I'm full of beans today, and there is a good reason for that, which we'll come on to in a minute. Well, there's actually a few reasons for it, but one main reason. Let's see who we've got in so far. In fact, what I'm going to do actually is have a look at this on YouTube as well. I'm going to have to mute it instantly. Bear with me a second, because there's some things you can see on the YouTube view. No, I'm still hearing myself. Why can I still hear myself? I've broken it already. I'm going to have to turn it off. Rubbish. Ah, that could work. Right, we're in the room. We're back in the room. How are we all doing tonight? So we've got Tonks in. Good evening, good evening. Sharon, early through the door. Tam, staunch supporter. Love that man. I'm assuming it's just Tam and not Tam and Bell, although one kind of comes with the other. Max is listening while he's going off to pick his lad up. Evening, sir. Good to see you. Right. Listening hands-free. About to lead to go and get Mason. Lovely jubbly. Mustang Monkey. Loving it. Good evening, good evening. Evening, Chris. How you doing? We'll just catch us. There's only a few people in at the minute, which is all good. Right, the reason I'm full of beans today is actually a bit crap, really. I set out at 4 o'clock this morning to go to the boot sales. Typical Sunday for me. Got to Burska. It was very quiet, very cold. A lot of the sellers have bottled it because of the weather. I can't say I blame them. I had to snap a dog off my bloody car when I went to it. Yeah, so I knocked that on the head without picking anything up at all, and went over to Bolton, and should have actually checked Bolton's Facebook page before I set off, because it's not on today, so it was a completely wasted journey. Consequently, I was back home and in bed for 7 o'clock. So I feel fresh as a daisy now. I have actually achieved some stuff today as well, which obviously I was always going to. Yeah, but no pickups today. So I'm kind of wondering what to do. I did actually start filming this morning for next Saturday's video, and then obviously it went a bit pear-shaped. So I'll get something out next weekend. How have we all found the boot sales today? You can certainly tell it's coming towards the end of the season. Who else is in? Talks Amanda, long time no see. Yeah, just Tam. You're more than welcome anyway, my friend. 39 in the chat. If I can trouble you lovely folks to give this video a thumbs up, that'd be brilliant. So I'm just sort of like a publicity whore, really. Lots of people saying hello. Yes, mate. I kind of, my tact on the whole going live thing is more of a sort of like a guerrilla approach to it. I just sort of like planned it. I only planned it about an hour ago to do it or so, and just do it. Who else we got? Good evening, Mr. Harris. How the devil are you, sir? Been building up some brownie points with the lovely folks at MotoGP this week, and she may well have got wind, but never mind. I'm not expecting a check in the post. Come on, work, you bloody thing. Steve saying Bursko was dead. Bolton off as East Lancs was rubbish, mate. Yeah, he's one of those. I think one seller can turn it around, as everybody knows in this game. But you just don't know until you get there. So Bursko could have been brilliant, but I mean, obviously the odds are against it at this time of year, but onwards and upwards. I've got a good weekend. I've got a good week ahead of me forecast for sourcing opportunities this week, which was good. Cass in, sorry you're up early. Just woke up from a nap. Yeah, when I got back in bed at 7 o'clock, I think it was about midday I woke up. I feel a proper lazy git. I did actually, like I say, use this afternoon productively though. Signed contract today for storage container. Nice. How big is your container? Sorry, I was just trying to decide whether that was a weird question or not. Yeah, so this week you may have seen from my video that came out yesterday, I took on an extra container. There is method in the madness. It's more storage space than I need. At present, the one container that I'm using for storage is more than adequate. There's a bit of scope for like more stock as well, which is good. And the other container, the idea is to use that mostly as a workspace. So there's obviously no power down there, but I'm running, or will be doing when I set it up this week, my LED lights and my printer, the label printer, off leisure battery, and just swap them out. I'm anticipating, touch wood, getting at least a week out of a leisure battery and then just swap them over. So I basically have one on charge while I'm using one. The leisure battery, I think it's an half decent one. Half decent leisure battery will probably stand you about 70 quid for an entry level one. You can spend a fortune on them, but for 70 quid, it'll get you an half decent leisure battery. It's just a bloody car battery, really. And an inverter. So the inverter, I think, was about 35 quid. It seems to be good enough. You can get different power output ones, and it can get a bit confusing. I'm not that electrically, I don't know how they work, but I'm not that electrically minded to say this inverter is good for such and such a job. But what I do know is how to test, and if it didn't work, I could always have returned it. So the inverter that I've got will power the label printer, and it will power the 4 lots of LED lights I've got to use as a photo booth. How long I get out of the battery is the unknown variable at the minute. So I'll report back on that. Well, I didn't actually check if I'm stepping on anybody's toes as far as this live goes this evening. So if I am, I apologise. Well, I say apologise. I don't really care. I'm sure I'll be forgiven eventually. Lots of people saying hello, hello, hello. God. Brian did Rancor today, starting to get going again, 3 floors on. That's great news, actually, Brian, because that's probably where I'm going next week. Hopefully they have more success than the last shower that were bloody running it, because I probably don't have to tell you, it was just hit and miss when it was on at all. So I think it was a bit of a half-assed attempt. It's under new management, I believe. So hopefully that'll go from strength to strength. It's great. If you don't already know, if anybody's in the Northwest, Rancor boot sale is on in Rancor, obviously. You'll be able to find the details on Facebook, but it's in a multi-story car park. So it still gets bloody cold and windy kind of thing, but you won't get wet, which is a bonus. And just as an added bonus, you can actually park in the car park to go to the boot sale. I know that sounds like an obvious thing to say, but the one that's in Accrington, you can't actually park in the car park. You have to park off site and then walk to it. So hopefully that will go from strength to strength. Sorry guys, my aunt's been diagnosed. Sorry to hear that, Amanda. That's bloody awful news. I hope everything goes as well as it possibly can do. My love to the family and everybody concerned. I think I've done that one. Yeah, going back on myself. Okay, I think this chat's turned on itself, turned upside down. Have you heard the listing daily is not part of the eBay algorithm? I haven't heard that, but in my experience, in almost everybody I've spoken to, listing daily does help. Now, I'm a big believer in just proving ideas before I shout from the rooftop about them. Yeah, fair enough. Fair play for the comment, but in my experience, it works. Always a thumbs up from me. Thank you very much indeed, Fletch. Absolute legend. Right, let's have some questions from you lovely folks. And it can be about anything. I've recently come back from Germany, so anything about that. And that the C word that we're not allowed to talk about on any form of social media. I actually did get that while I was away. I thought it was a monster hangover after accidentally accidentally falling into a German pub that was playing the England-Germany football match. I'm not into football, but we're in Germany and England were playing Germany. And it just happened to be on. So just for the atmosphere, we were bringing the English contingent to the pub. So initially I thought it was just a monster hangover because me and the boys did kind of put quite a bit of beer away, to be fair. But it wasn't. I was very poorly for a few days. So I kind of brought it home with me, which is great. Anyway, that's another story. Tonks, no boots on today. I had to rush my cat to the vet's early hours to get a foot. Oh, bloody hell. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Only had 3 hours sleep, cancel the trip. That's shitty, that, mate. I mean, pets are, I don't have pets myself, but I have, but I know they're part of the family. Sorry to hear that. Okay, so that's 2 bits of shitty news. We need 1 bit of good news now, guys. Okay, so let's. Oh, honestly, Carl, Germany was the dog's danglies. It went over specific. I've got my brother lives out there, and went out there, stayed with him for 3 days. Me and 3 of the lads from the bike club hit Oktoberfest, which is, I suspect, where I picked up the bug from. But it was epic. It was absolutely epic. Copious amounts of beer was drunk. Well, it's just standard. It's Germany's national drink, so we were adding to the German economy. And then from there, we went off down to the Harz Mountains for a couple of days. The idea was to go riding, but the weather was really shitty, and it would have been probably a bit dangerous ragging around the mountains in the wet. And we couldn't see bloody anything anyway. It was misty as hell. So we decided just to absorb more of the local culture. It was a brilliant trip anyway. Absolutely brilliant. I've been back a week now, and I'm still smiling about it. Who else we've got? How was Rancor? Went to Warrington and came home. Surf was very hard. Yeah, I think across the board now, all boot sales are going to be tailing off, even if it's not raining. People don't want to turn out in the cold. I'm being a negative Nora here, which it really isn't my thing. And I would say, if it's on, get out there, because if everybody thinks that it's going to suck, so it doesn't bother going, and you do, and it doesn't suck, you're going to win big time. So try and have that mentality and psych yourself out. But yeah, I mean, this time of year, they're always going to tail off a little bit. I'll do my best for the brownie points. Oh no, I had a bit of an opportunity this week. I suppose I'm speaking directly to Brian, but just out of interest, John Walsh, the guy who moderates the Facebook group for me, or helps me sort of like run the Facebook group, came across a post on Marketplace. There's a company that was moving location, and we're literally giving away thousands of brand new boxes. So both myself and John did a couple of car trips and just rammed everything. You might have seen the picture on Instagram of my unit that I stuck a load of boxes in. Where the brownie points come in, the firm I used to work for, that Brian still does, I basically phoned them up and said, listen, this is an opportunity and it's way too big for me to just benefit from. So one of the guys turned up in a big van and filled the van as well. I'm sure I'll get a Christmas card off the powers that be at Brian's firm. I'm not going to hold my breath though. Good old dad was aboard in a thrift train. Of course, he got involved. Yes, mate. Get the family involved. Lots and lots and lots. 10 foot by 8 foot. It's brilliant. If it gets it out from under your feet at home, then it's a winner. If you can justify having that, if you can justify the expense of having storage, honestly, one of the biggest factors in me taking on these units was exactly that. It wasn't just to clear up space at home, which, to be fair, I needed, because my whole intention was to try and have a 3-bedroom house and to keep the business in 2 bedrooms, one for stock and one for photography, packing, and just as an office kind of thing. And bits and pieces were just leaking into the. In fact, that's why. Well, in fact, the reason the picture around me is blurred is because I just found a filter. It's not because I'm embarrassed about my house or anything, but there is actually stuff waiting to go to the unit behind me. I bet you can't guess what that is. So yeah, if you can clear space at home, it clears headspace as well. And if you've got clearer headspace, it makes you more productive. So that was the motivation there. Hopefully, monkey, you'll achieve the same goal. Okay. Definitely just getting a solar panel or two. Yeah, I've looked into that, and the reason it's purely financially motivated. The way I'm doing it, at the minute with a leisure battery and swapping them out. Well, initially it's about the initial expense. I've looked into, I think they're called Jackery units, which is a pretty impressive standalone sort of portable power station. And you can actually power those off solar panels. So the initial idea, if money permitted, it was to run the solar panel, run the wires through the vents for the container, and recharge it that way, and just have it on charge there all the time. But the Jackery units are something like 500 quid, and I just can't justify that expense at the minute, not without at least trialing what I'm doing first. I already had the leisure battery anyway from when that half-assed attempt I had at renovating a van. So it was literally just a case of 35 quid for an inverter, and see how it goes. If it's not practical or I need more power down there, I'll just have to revisit it. But like I say, I mean, it's still the only thing in that extra container at the minute is those boxes I picked up in the week. Laura, good evening, my dear. How the devil are you? Here we go. Solar power, portable power station, eBay 50 quid. That's the route I'm going anyway. How much power will that give you though? I have looked into it a bit, probably not as much as I should, but there's a reason it's 50 quid. Now, if all you can run off it is a little light or whatever, I mean, I suppose it depends on what you're going to use it for, then that's expensive. If you want to be running, like, power your laptop, for example, or a printer, or several banks of lights, then I don't know. Let me know how you get on anyway. In fact, on that note, what I'm going to do is put my Instagram. Oh, that doesn't work. Put my Instagram link. So if anybody wants to add me on Instagram, feel free to. Instant access. I'm very, very responsive on there because I'm a little bit OCD. If anybody messages me or anything like that, I just have to get rid of the little notification circle thing. So feel free to have me on Instagram if you wish. I've got a spare one that may just trickle some charge into it. I feel like I'm jumping in on somebody else's conversation there. Damien, how are you doing? It's been a while, sir. In fact, I think, Damien, you probably inspired me to get a container rather than anything else, to be honest. Just looked like a very slick operation. Okay. Tonks is asking where Sharon's from. Let's see if anybody's added some questions. Here we go. Question. Hi, Dave. What's the best entry-level thermal label printer? I'd say just don't dick about getting a cheap and nasty one, because there's a very good chance it'll. I know there are. You can get a thermal label printer pretty cheap from. No, it's just some really obscure brand from eBay or Amazon or what have you. I didn't go down that route, but in my experience with other items, you do get what you pay for. I use a Dymo 4XL, and I think even now there's still about 200 quid. It's worth it though, because there aren't, aside from obviously buying the blank labels, there's no consumables. It's absolutely still to this day, after using it for probably getting on 3 years now, the best bit of kit that I've got. So yeah, definitely, I'll just won't dick about. I know it's 200 quid for a printer. It sounds like a lot of money, but it's worth it. It increases your, particularly when it comes to shipping, it increases your productivity exponentially. Like I say, the cost of running it is very, very little. If you get aftermarket labels as opposed to Dymo branded, in the case of Dymo printers, they're considerably cheaper and work just as well. Mine's had one fit where it just turned out to be gunge on the sensor or something along those lines. It just needed a bit of a clean. It's had one fit in all the time I've used it. Aside from that, not had a spot of problem with it. So yeah, I just going for the kill. Just, it's a justifiable expense in my mind, even at 200 quid. Free to get in, by the way. AM start. I'm assuming you're talking about the Rancor one, Brian. Free to get in. I've been a couple of times, as you're probably well aware, and yeah, I can't remember being charged, which is nice, because I paid 2 quid to get into Berska this morning, and all I ended up doing is breaking my torch. So today's cost me money rather than creating an opportunity to make some. Thanks, Brian. Dave, big issue with Accrington's really poor lighting. Yeah, you definitely need a torch if you're going to Accrington. I found the lower levels are really wet as well. Even when it's dry outside, bizarrely, it's raining in the car park. It's some kind of twilight shit going on there. It just makes the fakes a bit harder to see. Much better than last management of Rancor on today's evidence. Yeah, I hope that's. I mean, obviously, only time will tell on that, but they can't do much poorer a job than the last lot of management there. In fact, I think I mentioned it in one of my videos that you just don't know. Even if the Facebook page says it's on, you turn up and it's not. Nobody's turned up to set up or anything like that. It's really annoying. People lose faith real quick. For some reason, Claire. Oh, we go. Comment wasn't showing then. Evening, Claire. Flat Eric, large size, Billy Bass, 50p each. Could not pick them up fast enough. I bet. Did you manage to keep a straight face as well, Claire? Laughing minutes later. That last Billy Bass that I picked up from Shirk, it sold, I think, within a couple of days for 35 quid. I've never, I'm thinking now, never, ever, ever seen a Flat Eric in the wild. Never. In, what are we on now? 5 years of reselling? Never. So you're very lucky there. 50p each as well. That is a proper win. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's like the old one or the new one. The old ones tend to go for more money. It was a boxed old one that I had. That's probably why I got a bit more for it. But even so, you're looking at, for the Billy Bass, 25 quid for a new one, comfortably. What's Laura saying? I should be mod. So excited. I bloody would have. Just let it go. Let the excitement show. This is a great game that we're playing. Honestly, the amount of times that I've said just recently to people, I genuinely feel like I'm retired doing this. I mean, I do spend a lot of time doing the reselling thing during the week and editing the videos and all this. That was perfect timing. And this, that, and the other. But it really does feel like I'm retired. And I've got a hobby that pays my bills. It's wonderful. Let the squeals out, Claire. Just let them go. I typed, I can like, can give me a comment 50-minute drive away. Of course, Tonks is up in Scotland. I remember doing the video with James not so long back, although it's probably a long time ago now. Have we got any more questions in the chat? Question, here we go. They stand out if you start the question with the word question, although that's not loading as well. Will you bring back the winter beard and the colder months? I am actually considering growing it out a bit, but I don't know. Seeing as I've started growing my hair now and it's a hell of a lot grayer than I was expecting, I was thinking about dyeing it, but I think that cart has bolted now. I don't think I would get away with it unless I went green or something like that. Max. Good news, Dave. Still has vintage VW cool box ready to make me a deal. Max and the solar power panel for his new setup. Maybe. I do still have this. I've had a lot of interest in it, actually. I know it will go. I think that might be sort of like I know we're in quick Q4 at the minute, albeit very early days. I think it might be a Christmas purchase for someone. I do want to achieve that on just from a matter of proving myself. I want to say right, because I'm kind of winging it on the valuation. Anyway, just to fill everybody else in who isn't aware what Max is on about, I got a really cool vintage VW cool box. I thought it was just a Mickey Mouse one that had been sprayed up with a VW badge, but it's actually kosher kit. It's on my eBay store at the minute, which is Shed Life UK. If anybody's interested in having a look. Yeah, it's a really stunning bit of kit. I think I paid 35 quid for it, and I've got it listed for about 100 quid. I think it'll go all day long. Like I said, loads of interest in it, but it hasn't sold yet. So I don't know. I kind of want to sell it, Max. Yeah, I'll hang on. If it isn't, I'll tell you what. If it hasn't gone by the end of November, then hit me up and we'll talk turkey. I think it will have, but I can't say fairer than that. Songs. Yeah, that's shitty news. Sorry to hear about your cat, dude. Yep. Carl's on the beard tip for winter. It's always good. It's always good to have a winter coat, that's for sure. And most Scottish, but I'm assuming you mean boot sales Fletch on until Christmas. Yep, they're hardcore in Scotland. Don't mess about. I mean, it's freezing in Lancashire at the minute. It's probably not even big coat weather in Scotland yet. Yeah, I forgot our first Olympus made. Mui, I think that's how you pronounce it. Mui today, no battery. Should we sell untested or source a battery? I'd be tempted to source a battery, Kath, because they're still commanding really strong money, and I suspect the battery's not going to cost you very much as well. I mean, depending on how much you pay for the camera, even if you're paying a tenner for the battery, then if the margin's there, I would say, yeah, go for it. You'll command a much higher price if it's tested. And even if it doesn't, then you'll make your money back, including the cost of the battery, I suspect. Just selling it spares or repairs. So yeah, go for it. I've been picking up quite a few electrical devices just recently that have had no remote, and it get worthwhile getting an aftermarket remote, because in my experience, when you're selling, for example, a Freeview recorder, which quite often command decent values, nobody gives a monkeys whether it's a genuine remote or not, as long as it's fully functioning. So aftermarket remotes will cost you maybe like a quarter of a genuine remote, and do it that way. Same with batteries. The sale that I made was yet another of the Bowden gem addresses, which I could probably put up on screen, but I'm not going to. Lots and lots of those sold while I was away. Never been to Lanark, heard it's clean, but not very good. Do you like Lanark? That's a question for somebody else, but I have never done a boot sale in Scotland, much to my detriment. Although going into next year, I'm going to set my stall out to start going further afield. That was a plan for this year, but I'm absolutely going to do it because I want to get away more. So basically, I'm going to go sourcing in different areas and use it as an excuse to go away for the weekend and see if I can get my sourcing from boot sales to fund the weekend away. How cool would that be? That would properly float my boat. Yeah, Damon's saying get a battery, Tesco sell them. Yeah, I'm not sure which batteries they take. Yeah, but I can't imagine them. When I'm buying like aftermarket remotes or batteries, I just have a shelf that I stick the item on and order it on eBay. So, but if they sell them in Tesco, all the better. Yeah, shitty news about your cat. More questions. Any more questions for any of you lovely folk? 53 people in the chat. If you can give this video a thumbs up, I would very much appreciate it. You know, with it being a Sunday, and I know just because. Right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Hello, my dear. How the devil are you? Sorry I'm late with a miss. You've missed everything, basically. That's a really, really nice profile picture. There's me being a bit nepotistic there. Anyway, the less said about that, the better. Good evening, Rachel. Okay, we're looking for questions in the chat. And then I have actually lined up a few things like recent sales this week that I've made that nothing special, but I've tried to pick out items that you may or may not be aware of that are worthwhile picking up. In some instances, if you guys have watched more than a couple of my videos, then I'll be sounding a bit like a stock record. But you don't know what you don't know. There might be somebody in the chat that doesn't know these things, and it might be good news for them, good information for, should I say. Went to my first booty today, inspired by you, sir. Fantastic. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I hope you did well. At this time of year, it's a bit more difficult to source, but on the run up to Christmas, it's a bit easier to sell. So all power to you. All power to you. Just keep at it. It'll come good. Shaba's in. Good evening, Shaba. How are you? That's the Instagram handle, by the way. It's just instagram.com/ABL reselling. Hit me up on there. I'm quite attentive on there. I'm a very attentive Instagrammer. My hubby won't go too far, James. You have to just light a fire under him, Sharon. Just... Don't think I'll ever get storage because of the cost. See what happened to Porky. A ban from eBay for 24-foot container full of stock. Horrible what happened to him. I don't think that was because he had a container. I think it was probably more to do with the fact that what he was doing. So anyway, I don't know the ins and outs of that story, so I won't comment on it. But if you can justify the expense of a container, it's a win. It's got to be a win because it's out from under your feet. The thing I've had, obviously I've only just taken on the second one. The container that I've had it for about a month now, and a couple of times I've cocked up. I've left my laptop there when I should have brought it home, or I missed something that I should have picked up to process, and I've had to go back for it. But once I move the packing down there, obviously that'll rule out those kind of cock-ups. But I've just found a minor inconvenience having them. I can't even say it's an inconvenience because it was a pain in the ass having everything at home. So there's an offset there. Anyway, what I'm getting at is the benefits of having a lockup far outweigh the inconvenience of it not being to hand. I can't answer questions as quick as it used to. That's probably the only downside, really. But anyway, each to their own. If you can make it work, you can make it work. If it's not for you, then fair play to you. Good evening, Sarah. Whose head is? How long has it been since you watched any of my videos, Sarah? I feel like you've let me down in some way. Am I joking? I know, yeah, it's coming on a bit, isn't it? I'm going to go for it, actually. I'm just going to keep growing and just see what happens. I've just accepted the fact that I'm an old man now. Any more questions? Here we go. Mine's definitely not a slick operation. It absolutely is, Damien. It absolutely is, sir. I've missed your videos. I've not seen any for a while. Have you been making any content? And if not, I mean, obviously, I have to go into detail if you don't want to, but why not? You make cracking videos then. Hello, Dave. Love your videos. Thank you so much, Dawn. It's very much appreciated, all your support. And anybody who even pays me any mind, I really appreciate it. Organized chaos. Yeah, that's how a lot of us run our businesses successfully. There is method in the madness, though, I'm sure. You need to get your hubby to take you so you can find the best ones. Yep, get him told, Sharon. Get him told. What do you do for inventory over winter when the boot sales are quieting down? One word: contacts. It's absolutely vital. It's something that takes a bit of time to develop. I have a few charity shops now where I have an extremely good relationship with the managers. They let me go and have a route in the warehouse or the back of the shop or whatever. The more relationships like that you can develop, then the better. In my experience, charity shop managers love resellers. Absolutely love them, because we're turning up spending much more than Joe Public would do. In the main, if you're respectful and professional and pay a fair price, then they'll just welcome you with open arms. In fact, so much so, in some instances, I'm getting WhatsApp messages off charity shop managers saying, these have just come in, are you interested? Like I say, relationships like that develop over time. But if you approach charity shops and the like with that attitude, just to be friendly, get chatting. I mean, I'd even go so far as to say be proud of what you do, because everybody wins in that instance. Everybody wins. The charity shop wins, the respective charity wins. There's a higher turnover of stock. They're getting more money in through the door. Yada yada yada. It's a win-win situation. So that's the main one. I've been putting a lot of research into auctions this year as well. I'm still not very good at it, and I'm still making cock-ups. There's lower margin in auction pickups as a rule, but it's there to be had, and just keep working on your stacks. I think just taking it right back to probably what should have been the start of the conversation, the best way to do it is try and get yourself into a position where you don't owe people very much. Your overheads at a minimum. So I've shouted from the rooftops on this exact point. If you're thinking about getting into reselling, particularly if you're thinking about doing it full time, just drill your debt down first before you even go down that route. Because if you don't owe people any money, then your business is going to success. Your business is going to be more successful. A little less organized, a bit more chaos. Yeah. Okay, Damon, this is your challenge. I'm laying down a challenge here now. Need to see a video from you. This is probably where you say, oh, actually, Dave, I've been making a video every other day for the last year and you've just not been watching. If that's the case, I apologize. Been using Munbin desktop thermal over printer for a few months. Very good. 143 quid at the moment on Amazon. Never heard of those, but if it's working, it's working. Fair play. I think you'll be hard pushed to find anybody that says buying a thermal label printer was a bad idea. Paid £140 from eBay for my Zebra printer. Zebra, another good brand. Free labels from Royal Mail. Really, you're like the third person who said this, and I've never been able to find out any information whatsoever. If you've got any links, Tonks, for free labels from Royal Mail, can you just DM me on Insta? I'd love you forever. There's a pint in it for you if you can hook me up and point me in the right direction. Seems to go cheap on eBay too. Yeah, I think I'm paying about $4.50 for a roll of 250 labels. So, which it's not given to say that sounds expensive. I suppose it's a matter of opinion. But for what it saves me in productivity, it's well worth it. Absolutely well worth it. Okay. Label printer essential for any reseller. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. They pay from, so even like I say with the Dymo 4XL I've got, I paid a couple $100 for it. It's paid for itself in no time, in absolutely no time. And the aftermarket labels are easily as good as the Dymo branded ones. So did you bring anything back from Oktoberfest trip to sell? No, I didn't, Jonathan. I did bring something back, the big C thing that makes you very ill. But unfortunately, there's no resale value in that. No, we went on the bikes. Me and 3 of my mates went over on motorbikes. So we're a bit restricted for space, and it hammered it down like about 80% of the time we were there. So it was glorious when we got back to the UK. It was really annoying, but hey, you pay your money, you take your chance. P&O in the Wisdom. We were only supposed to go just for Oktoberfest. I think we were going to be there originally. Well, it would have been 5 days, including a night either end on the ferry. But P&O in the Wisdom cancelled the sailing back. So sadly, we had to stay in Germany for an extra 3 nights, drinking ourselves inside out. So I'm not a big drinker, but when in Rome, when in Rome. But no, no is the short answer. I have done in the past. Like I say, I try and get over once a year to see my brother over near Osnabrück, and I have brought some stuff back. And the German charity shops are actually pretty good. I did get asked if I wanted to go to a boot sale while I was over there, and I was very tempted. But I'd have been gutted if I'd have found loads of pickups and not been able to film on the bike. Scottish Eco, I didn't know it was only Falkirk. I think I might have to start talking to the likes of Tonks and that for next year, and maybe do sort of like a resellers road trip and just go from area to area. I've got this idea. I mean, obviously it would mean probably putting my eBay store on time away mode. It's sort of like a holiday, and then spend maybe a week or 10 days just going from different areas and see what I can find. Bit of a cool Scottish road trip. Yeah, I'd say that Zebra 420D, James. Love our one. Such a time saver. Yep. Like, is there anybody in the chat that's got a bad word to say about thermal label printers? Just to prove me wrong. Like, you don't like, I don't know, the noise it makes or something. Just for a bit of balance, say one negative thing about thermal label printers. It'll be a stretch. Okay, sold the Coca-Cola diner. Oh, you've so got to put more meat on the bones. I don't know what you mean there, Damien, but that sounds like something I want to hear more about. We don't mind packing at home, listing, picking at the container. Looking good from your downtime. Looking good from your downtime, Dave. Yeah, the thing that I've found over the last month is it is a bit of a ball ache doing the picking down. It's only for storage at the minute over the last month. So I think the plan is to do the labeling down there as well in the packing. There's no reason why I can't just leave my label printer down there and do the shipping. So it's going to be cold, obviously, but I've got a woolly bully. Just getting out of the house would be great. Okay, that looks like a win to me. Bought me from the JR for 40 quid. I'm assuming you're talking about the. That's good. If you're talking about a printer as well, then that's cool. I'm shooting myself in the foot by bigging up Rancor, aren't I? Nah, I think, Brian, I've an idea of the kind of stuff that you look for, and everybody looks for different things. I don't mind telling people where I go, and the kind of stuff that I'm picking up, because I've never, not once in the 5 years I've been reselling, had any competition. And I'm not saying that because I know loads of stuff and I'm dead good at it or anything like that. That's just not the case at all. People just instinctively look for different things. Some people niche down and they're only looking for certain items. I go broad. I recommend everybody going broad in what you pick up rather than specializing, but each to their own. And I know people just have different levels of life experience. One thing that is an absolute obvious to me is with your own experiences in life, and if you traveled, if you've had different interests, done different jobs, it kind of builds up a big picture of that's a benefit to reselling. And the point I'm trying to make, I'm kind of losing my own point here. I think what I'm trying to get at is all your life experiences. It teaches you to. It kind of guides you in what you think looks cool. I have a rule of thumb that is, if I think something looks cool, then somebody in eBay land will do too. And if I know nothing about its value or anything like that, that's the kind of thing that I'm looking at to value with a view to resell. And I think what I'm getting at, as far as the other waffle I just said, was the more life experiences that you've had, more things like that flag up on your radar. That last 3 minutes was probably complete horseshit, and I do apologize. I can, because I only half know what I'm on about. It's just portraying it. This is why I edit all my videos and I rarely do lives. I have these conversations with myself when I'm doing piece to camera, and just edit out me talking to myself. Too many traders at Earl James. I don't mind a decent trader, to be fair, Tam. I've bought loads of stuff off traders. It's nice buying off people having to clear out of the tap from home and all that kind of stuff, and that's usually where you get the major bargains from. But you can still find pearls from traders as well. You really can. Maybe just sort of like, sometimes you have to, particularly if sourcing is getting scarcer, like with the run into winter, you just have to be a little bit more pragmatic with your margins. Sometimes I'll take a lot lower margins in winter than I would do during the summer, say, and just try and increase the through flow stock just to offset the balance. Just means your bottom line's the same at the end of the day. Everything was cheap up there compared to what we used to down south. Almost worth moving, Becky. Just don't move to Chorley. No, I don't mind, whatever. I wish I ever had Robin Hood hat on. You've seen the Germany video then. I love the hat. It was really itchy. It must have been made out of llama's arse fur or something like that. It was so itchy. I had like a rash around my forehead like all the next day. So, but anyway, when in Rome. For next year, though, I'm definitely going to invest in some. I was going to call them leather chaps then. The typical, what are they called now? The leather shorts and braces thing. Because I thought it was a wind-up. My mate says, "Oh, this is what I'm wearing." And it was a traditional German kind of lederhosen. That's the word I was looking for. But yeah, everybody was wearing them, and all the lasses were in sort of like Dolly Parton dresses as well. It was brilliant, fantastic. So I'm going to make more of an effort for next year. Right, looking for more questions. So when I found my flat Eric, some teams were throwing him around the charity shop saying, "Oh my God, what's this?" And I was thinking, it's valuable. Did you rugby tackle him? Don't mess with flat Eric. We're rugby tackling him and scooting him out of the shop. You've got a new container, but what's your long-term goal for your business? The long-term goals for my business is do more of the same. My reasoning for getting into reselling in the first place is because I wanted to stop killing myself working for somebody else. All my life I've worked crazy hours. I joined the army at 16 and a half, obviously busting my backside there. I was medically discharged after just over 7 years in the army. Started working for really crappy jobs, working for someone else, all of which were just eating my life, taking me away from time with my kids and now my grandkids and stuff like that. So I just wanted my life back. So my whole reasoning behind being a reseller now is to work as little as possible, make that work as enjoyable as possible, and have enough margin to spend time doing the things I love with the people I love. So that's me, and I am over the moon. I can't tell you how happy it makes me doing this for that end. Not interested in being wealthy. For anybody to be wealthy in the reselling game, it means staff, it means more stress, it means more hours. None of that I want. None of it. I am ecstatically happy with the level I'm at. So anyway, that was quite impassioned, that, wasn't it? I really, really, really am passionate about that though. So I understand that everybody's got different goals. More people are success orientated, but it depends on what your interpretation of success is. I consider myself successful, and it's nothing to do with money. I don't struggle, but I'm barely comfortable, let alone bloody wealthy. And I know that reselling is not going to make me wealthy, but I really don't give a toss about that. It's about quality of life for me. Absolutely about quality of life. So more of the same is the short answer. More questions. Sorry. What's been the most horrible thing you bought a car who went for fantastic money? I bought a creepy it's not a resuscitation doll. It's the child version of a resuscitation. Well, it's a child resuscitation doll. Honestly, it's the creepiest thing that you've ever seen in your life. I think I paid 20 quid for it, and that went to, I want to say, Lithuania. It was sort of like an Eastern European country for about 250 quid. But honestly, I was glad when it went because I wasn't sleeping at night. Horrible thing though. Nothing really horrible apart from that. I have actually got another doll in stock at the minute that's still hanging around, but I'm determined to get top dollar from it. It's a Rusty doll, Rustie. It's Little Lakota, it's called. It's on my store if anybody wants to have a nosy. It's an Annabelle doll. It's just creepy as hell. I paid very little for that, maybe about 10-15 quid, and that should, touch wood, go for over 100 quid. But I've had it for, yikes, probably about 6 months at least now. I'll throw that back at you, Geraldine. What is the most horrible thing you've ever bought and sold? Okay. Question from Kath. How does Just for Men know? How do they know? I don't know. It's crazy. I've only ever used that once. It's actually really good. I just this time I've opted for the grey option because, you know, maybe it's repelled by estrogen. Sarah's the scientist. Oh, and it's definitely worth more. We've listed, trust me. Yep, 100%. We're on about the VW cooler again now. I found another one in red also on eBay, about another 40 quid on top of yours. Cool, fantastic. I'd be well happy with it, Tom, for mine. Well happy. It is cool. I love finding cool stuff like that. That VW cool box. It's a talking point. I agree. Lots of traders. What about the Falkirk boot sale? I think. Laura's growing a winter coat. Don't want to know where. Sarah's beard's nicely trimmed. White one. There we go. Right. Okay. So I'm going to hold this question. After this question, I'm just going to show you the things I was talking about earlier. So from Mad Maz, if an elderly person was selling a £500 item for £1 at a boot sale and they didn't know the value, would you give them a little bit extra? No, I've got to be honest. No, I would give them what they're asking. I suppose if somebody else was interested, and I don't know, I wouldn't even offer, like, try and gazump somebody else who was bidding on it. I'd just give them what they're asking. That's just the game. You've got to. You've just got to look at it logically. If it's almost an irrelevance how much it's worth to you. If that's what it's worth to them, and you're not arguing, then everybody's happy. So that's a really good moral question there, Lomas. I did actually question myself there. So, but if I'm absolutely honest, no, I wouldn't. I would just not argue. I mean, there's no way in a million years I would say I'll give you 50p for it. I mean, that's an extreme example. Stuff like that does happen, perhaps not to that degree, but it does happen. In fact, just recently there was, I think it was a Bursco boot sale. There was I wouldn't say elderly, but certainly older than me, couple that were selling stuff, and they just wanted shot of all the tap from home. And I got a banker's lamp for £1, I think it was, that sold for 25. There was something else as well, like a camera or something like that. Again, a couple of quid that went for 35. So yeah, I can't say I would. What would you do? Would you pay more? And what reason would you give them? Because they would almost certainly ask why you want to pay more. What reason would you give? Interesting moral question. Okay, looking for more. Oh, sorry, I was going to come on to these. Right, I'm going to share my screen and show you some stuff that I sold just recently. So the first one, just to preload this first item, I source quite a lot of costume jewelry. Again, apologies for anybody who watches my videos regularly. This is going to be old news. I go through it quite religiously. The costume jewelry isn't sort of like the Claire's accessories type crap and all that kind of stuff. It's items that have been brought in from house clearances, and that kind of stuff. Anyway, it does get gone through at the source, at the charity warehouse, and they do pull out all the obviously expensive bits and gold and silver say. They do miss a lot as well. I won't bore you with the story about my recent extreme success going through it, because this first item is basically the detritus that's left. It's just a guff of the costume jewelry. A lot of people who do the I mean, some people buy it to resell, some people buy it for craft purposes, or upscaling, that kind of stuff. Not upscaling, what are they calling it? Upcycling, that's the word I'm looking for. So people buy it for different reasons, but I'm buying sort of like, say, 10 kilos at a time and knocking it out, in this instance 1.5 kilos, 15 quid. That's happening really regularly. So I think what I'm getting at there is, look out for costume jewelry. It's the new Lego. Nobody wants to go through loads of Lego anymore and go cross-eyed trying to sort it all out for little or no bloody money these days. But costume jewelry, it's a lot of fun going through it as well, because particularly if it's house clearance type costume jewelry, because you do find interesting bits. Out of this current batch, I got something like 50 watches, all of which most of them were sort of like just crap brands, unheard of brands, but about 50 watches. There was some Seconda in there, all of which, with maybe one or two exceptions, the batteries are gone, but I've been just selling them as bundles at like 20 quid for 10 watches or something like that, and obviously if it was branded, more than that. So yeah, costume jewelry definitely should be on your radar. Nexty. Share screen. These were cool. I got a picture of myself and I looked a proper gimp in them. Stadium vintage motorcycle goggles. What a great sale this was. I can't remember how much I paid for them. I think a couple of quid maybe. And yeah, they're just really cool. Really interesting. I would have loved to have found out where they'd gone and why they'd gone there. Maybe, I don't know, it might have been used as a prop. There was no clues in the title, but yeah, that was a really cool sale. And I've only got another like 3 of these, so bear with me. This one, I initially thought it was a DVD recorder, but it's just, sorry, not DVD recorder. It is a DVD recorder. I'm getting this and another item I've recently sold mixed up. DVD recorders in the main have quite low value if it's just a DVD recorder. The difference with this one, I think I paid a tenner for this. The difference with this one is it's got a hard drive on it. Don't be afraid of picking stuff like this. I know I'm probably repeating something that I said in yesterday's video. Don't be afraid of picking hard drive recorders up, because even if they don't work, then the hard drive itself still has a value. And the other two, like I say, I think I paid a tenner for that one. Now these are good pickups for this time, all year round, but particularly for this time of year. I picked up, this was in a video as well, 2 pairs from the same seller of these Rio roller quad skates. Paid £5 a pair for them, and they're going out for, well, they both sold within a couple of days of each other to different people for £29.80 plus the postage, and I charged the correct postage in that instance, £5.99. So yeah, Rio is a great band. SFR is the brand, I think. Rio, yeah, SFR Rio. SFR is a great band, but any really, even sort of like the cheap Chinese copy ones, if they look retro like this, then great sellers, absolutely great sellers. And finally, on the show and tell, because I didn't want to make this all about show and tell. I've lost it now. Where is it? This one. Here we go. From Chirk, I think a week before I went away, 3 of these cases for £13 each. Sorry, £13 for all 3. I wouldn't have really looked at these if it wasn't for Brew Reseller, and these had some, because obviously it's a records super specialist kind of thing, and I had thought these weren't worth anything, weren't worth picking up, and I've sold 2 of the 3 of them now. Just one left, and they've gone for £16.50 plus postage. They're coming in at about £4.30 for postage as well, because they're under 2 kilos. So yeah, they're a good pickup actually. That was a new one by me as well. Right, so I'll stop waffling on about that now. See if I can try and catch up on the chat. Where was I up to? I am way behind on the chat. Sorry about this. The chat has jumped down to the bottom, so I'm just trying to find out where I was up to. Right, love my thermal printer. Absolutely. Kind of want to buy it a drink. Best tip for pleasing eBay algorithms. Currently listing a few items each day and seeing a difference. Yeah, somebody commented earlier on in this live to say that listing every day is nothing to do with eBay algorithms. That may well be the case, but it makes a difference nonetheless. I think everybody will tell you that if you're listing regularly, you're selling regularly. And that sounds like a really obvious thing to say, but it does make a difference. You could have 1,000 listings. If you haven't listed anything for the last month, you won't be making as many sales as if you were just listing, say, a couple of items a day. So, and that's just the way it works. So I think most people have proved that. So yeah, consistency is definitely rewarded. One thing that I'm having significant success with is promoted listings as well. I promote everything, absolutely everything, and I used to promote at just 2% across the board. Now I follow Chris Hayden, Cooking the Hayden's method, whereby I will promote to the suggested promotion percentage and cap it at 10%. So I don't promote at any more than 10% on any items. Most things are a lot less than that. And seeing a result, I think you have to promote just to be in the game. And some people have a bit of a moan about it, saying, well, if we're paying for the listings, why are we paying extra? Well, basically, way to look at that is you're paying for your listings. That's for your presence on eBay, and then your promotions are your advertising budget. So that's the best way to look at it. And obviously, the more money you spend on advertising, the more results you're going to get. It's just a no-brainer. On that point, it's important to have them. This is the reason it's so important to have the margin in the items that you listed. Broad range, but certain niches. Yeah, fair enough. I get that. Whatever works for you. I mean, like I say, if you look at, I'd say most prominent YouTube resellers, that one thing that seems to be consistent across probably 90% or more is the fact that they will go broad rather than just specialize. So it's great to have people that do specialize that you can learn from, but I'd say it's better to have 20 of those rather than focus down. I mean, that's just my take. Whatever works for you. Best traders are house clearance guys. They have so much. Just yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there are deals to be had from people clearing houses. It's kind of making a very good point there, particularly when you're buying from private individuals or traders. Is not prejudging, just being as open-minded as you can and doing your research. With those two things, you can't fail, really. You can't fail. If anyone moves to Charlie Day knows a bloke who can put a brick through a window without being seen. I know quite a few people like that, Sarah, but I don't dislike people enough to use it. Dave, Errol is an odd airbase between Perth and Dundee with many large sheds and containers. They make their money renting space. Traders, majority of private sellers in the field. Fair days. That sounds like is that the site of a boot sale, or is this for sort of like storage purposes? Oh, hang on. The follow-up comment was love Errol, so I'm assuming that it's a boot sale. I'll come up and say hello and make some videos. It's going to be next year now, though. I want to be heading south during the winter, not north. Good evening, Zoe. How the devil are you? I don't know why that comment tickled me so much. Fletcher was surprised by the size of Errol. It's a big fella, is Errol. Hi, Dave. Love the shows. Do you mind me asking, are you VAT registered? Thanks. No, I'm not. I've maintained being under the VAT threshold for reasons you've probably heard already during this conversation. The reasons I'm a reseller at all. I just don't want. I'm not saying VAT is going to complicate things because it just is what it is. I would be very interested to find out the implications of selling used items when it comes to VAT, but that's just a passing in. If I go over, it will be very, very carefully planned. But as it stands at the minute, I'm not, and I've no intention. I'm putting a lot of effort into increasing my margins rather than increasing my turnover. Sorry, Dave, got to leave, hang out. Football. Well, good luck to your respective team. Going off your profile picture, I'm going to assume you're a Man United fan. Not a fan myself, but good luck. I met Derek Tap Peddler Earl. Nice guy, but only came over 3 or 4 items. Weather wasn't great. Not many carpeters when we went. Yeah, but if you hadn't have gone, you wouldn't have got those 3 or 4 items. Haven't caught one of your vibes since you're giving away them posh scissors. That was a while ago. I haven't done it. I was considering doing a duck race for a giveaway on this live, and then I thought, no, I've just spent far too much money on beer in Germany, so I can't be afford to be giving away stuff away at the minute. Maybe next month. I'll do a giveaway next month. Did the resource still need exercise? I was glad to see it go. I was genuinely glad to see it go. I hope it went to, I don't know, somebody who, I think it's St John's Ambulance or something like that. Any resellers local to West Yorkshire voting for a reseller meet up, Dave? I'll be there. Yep, I'll be there. I'm far too lazy to organise a meetup myself. Although, hot off the press information for the 64 people in the chat who obviously everybody click thumbs up on this video because you're amazing. On the 26th of November in Coppell, which is about 3 miles away from my house, there's a party on at the Red Herring. So if anybody wants to come to this party at the Red Herring pub on the 26th of November, which is a Saturday. Kickoff's 8 p.m. There's a band on and lots of sort of like socialness. Feel free, get it in your diary. I don't know why this is so difficult to click on all these comments. Lately, our sales been on eBay for everyone. Mine have been, they obviously have tailed off. I did about $1,000 of sales when I was in Germany, when my store was on holiday mode. I'm more than happy with that. I thought it would just stop dead, but I saw a reasonably steady stream. I think the one thing that's affected mine is because I haven't been listing as much because I've not been in the country. That's probably why I've seen a tail off over the last week. It's not really got back up to speed myself, but the last couple of months have been crazy busy. I've had the best 2 months since starting reselling, and it's almost entirely, I would suspect, to do with promoting listings. So everybody should be promoting listings, just whatever you're comfortable with. But I think I guess it's a strong point on this. There's going to be people that disagree with me, but I've proved this point inside out and upside down. If you're promoting your listings, you will proportionally see better results. Here we go. At the end of the day, you're paying what they're asking. Yeah, I think this is to do with a comment, the moral comment that said, would I pay more to an elderly couple selling an item for £1 that I knew was worth 500? Yeah, just pay what they're asking. Definitely, that's my take on it. I wouldn't take the piss. Have I ever been to Fleetwood indoor car boot? No, it has been recommended to me by some traders that I bought off a few times now, but never been. If anybody else can answer that question, I think Kathy, if you're still in the chat, I think she's a fan of That Way On. Okay, right, we're at 1:17, so I'm going to speed up. My eBay been up 64% last month according to eBay. Absolutely smashing it, Mustang Monkey. Absolutely smashing it. Do you promote listings at suggested percentage from eBay or set lower? I think I probably already answered that, but just in case you missed it, what I do is basically the same as Chris Hayden from Cooking Hayden's. I promote at the suggested rate and cap it at 10%. Annoyingly, you can't do that when you're setting the listings up. So I have to bulkhead it. I go every, say, once a week. I go back. I promote everything at point of listing at the suggested rate as long as it's not over 10%. And once a week, because there's no facility on the listing setup to cap it at a percentage rate, I bulkhead it. And then if you bulkhead it, all your listings, the promoted rate, you can at that stage set the maximum that you will pay, or the maximum percentage that you will pay. Oh, there we go. This is how far behind on the chart. This is the moral question that everybody's answering now. Give them what they're asking for. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why would they care otherwise, really? And why would they know? And not that you're hiding something from them. You're just giving them what they want. Mustang Monkey added suggested promotion rate. Yep. It's their job to do the research and know what the items are worth. Yeah, at least I agree with you. Perhaps a little bit of a harsh way of putting it, but I think just the whole gist of what seems to be the consensus of opinion is just give them what they're paying. Sorry, just give them what they're asking. Everybody's happy. I've given more money many times if going to the kids. Yeah, everybody's got a story. That's great if you want to do that. Do you feel obliged to do it though, or are you just doing it out of the kindness of your heart? Each to their own. I don't think there's, although it sounds like a trigger kind of comment, question. It isn't really. It's just a matter of opinion, I think. So behind on the chat now, so behind. So I'm going to speed up a wee bit. But one I will highlight is this one, Double Karma. Thank you very much, Anya, you absolute legend. The stickers and the super chats are very much appreciated, but not asked for. So lovely, thank you very much. I'll have a pint on you. Have you fallen out with Night's Life? Asking again in case you missed it. No. Why would you think that? No, not at all. I get on great with Rich. I don't fall out with anybody anyway. So, but thank you for the £5. I saw some goggles like that at Warrington this morning, and I knew you should have asked the price. Yeah, a great keyword with stuff like that is Keeffe Racer, because it's a thing. Like retro is big in most areas. Keeffe Racer is sort of like the retro keyword for like vintage motorcycle style. So yeah, definitely. Even if they just look old and that kind of style, it doesn't really matter on the brand. There's some brands like the one I found are worth very decent money, but it doesn't matter as long as that's what it looks like and that's what it invokes. You don't know what you don't know. Don't beat yourself up, Kath. You'll know for next time. Right, I'm trying to filter out the questions now so I can scooch along the chat some more. We were just talking about you, Rich. Your ears burning. We haven't fallen out, have we? And you seems to think we have. God only knows where that's come from. I've not spoken for a bit, to be fair, but it's not because we're falling out. Okay, looking for more questions. Dave, do you fancy getting me some bubble wrap? Is that what you're looking at there? I could, I don't know. The only reason I'm hesitating, in fact, send me a message on, Cal, send me a message on Insta. I'm hopefully, weather permitting, going to go over to Fitzwilliam on Wednesday. I can pick you up a couple of rolls maybe. I think they're about 11 or 13 quid a roll for the 7. I get the 750ml. So yeah, send me a message on Insta. I'll try and make it happen, but obviously no promises because it's really big and bulky, and I don't know whether I'm going or not yet. It's going to be a waste of time if it's even a little bit raining. Santa's in. I miss Santa. How you doing, Santa? How's lovely Carolina today? South Carolina even. Question. There we go. I like people who use the word question so it stands out. Really interested to get your thoughts on offers on listings, yes or no? Yes, 100% yes. Even when I was on holiday, it was a little bit embarrassing really because I was on my phone when I was supposed to be having a conversation with friends and drinking beer and looking at interesting German things. Yeah, 100%. I do it all the time. I just do it off the app as well. I'm usually quite tight with my offers, to be fair. The minimum offer you can send out is 5%, as you're probably well aware. More often than not, it's either that or not much more. I've found it seems to not be working as well as it used to, but I found if you send offers out, really often the item will sell to somebody else at a full price. Like, it's just too much of a coincidence for it not to be a thing that it sells for full price if you're sending offers out, not necessarily to the people you're sending offers out to. So I don't know what it jiggles up, but it's definitely a thing. So yeah, 100% offers all the time. Just obviously make sure your margins can stand the offers that you're sending out. Use a new camera on live stream. Dave looks amazing. Better depth of first. Yeah, I've just found the background effects thing. StreamYard has upgraded its facility, the free facility, because I used the free version because I'm too tight to pay for it. And yeah, this is one of them, blue background. It was either this or have a brick wall behind me, or the other option was like a really fancy house with a grand piano in the corner and fancy furniture and all that. But nobody's going to believe that shit. I think you might be able to upload your own backgrounds as well. So the next live I do, there's a very good chance I'm going to be doing it from the deck, a deck from the Starship Enterprise. Bridge, that's the word I was looking for. Right, I'm really going to jump now because I'm losing people. I think I'm losing myself, and I'm absolutely gasping for a brew. I'm terrible, mate. After the COVID jab Saturday, it's not supposed to give you COVID. It's supposed to sort of like make the effects less. I hope you get better soon anyway, Rich. Lindsay and Alvin in. Good evening. I'll tell you what, we're on an hour 26 at the minute. I'll be aiming for just over an hour and a half, and then that's it. And then we'll just pull the plug. I think I'm pretty near the bottom of the chat now anyway. Does anyone else eat mayonnaise from the jar with a spoon? It's so good. And the most random question of the day award goes to Gordon. But this is a really good opportunity to big up mayonnaise. Now, you may already be aware, or you may not. Mayonnaise is great for sorting out coffee cup marks on wood. Now, this is, I thought it was just complete bullshit, this suggestion, but it's absolutely genuine. Sometimes I buy like nested tables, like G-Plan stuff, because there's really good margin in it. I picked up a nested tables, maybe going back about 4 or 5 months now. And on the top, there was coffee cup rings. And somebody said, use mayonnaise, just smear mayonnaise over it evenly, leave it overnight, and then just polish it up. And then maybe put a bit of tea coil on or something like that. But I thought it was complete bullshit, but I thought maybe it's not. Anyway, I tried it, stuck mayonnaise on it, left it overnight, whacked it all off. The coffee cup rings completely gone. Mayonnaise is amazing. So if you've got any, I don't know, furniture, any wood furniture that's got little marks on it, or stains or anything like that, mayonnaise for the win. There you go. Thank you for that opportunity for for mentioning mayonnaise, Gordon. I don't think you're weird. I love mayonnaise, just not to that degree. Okay, we're getting towards the bottom of the chat now again, but people keep jumping on. And there's my strange addiction. There's a lady that eats concrete in the episodes, and the other lady eats a cow nutrition of foam. Yeah, definitely won't recommend that. But I saw one that's a woman was, shall we say, having romantic relationships with the Eiffel Tower. But I suppose it's nothing to do with eating. But there are some strange folks. Whatever floats your boat. How's the big duck? The big duck is great. It's sitting in my bath as we speak, but we've renamed it. It's Judgmental Duck now, because it's got like, it looks at you while I'm having a poo. It looks at me with judgmental eyes, like I'm doing something wrong. That was likely too much information. So moving swiftly on. No, I was joking last night on my live. I haven't sent you Saturday Night Lives for a while. I'll tell you what, Rich, I'll be on next week. How'll that be? I'll commit myself. I'm pretty sure I haven't got anything on next week. I will tell you the reason, aside from obviously being in Germany, but there is a reason that I haven't really been available for a few weeks on a Saturday particularly, yeah, DM me. See everybody, we've not fallen out. Me and Rich are really good mates, and I'll be on his show next Saturday, hopefully. Now, Santa, reseller Santa. If anybody is not aware, if somebody can put Santa's Insta details in the chat, that'd be great. Thank you very much. Anybody with a spanner, I think there's a few of you in the chat. Hit the Carolina Claus up on Instagram. What an absolute legend. Got to ride the parade in a motorcycle yesterday. 10th annual homecoming at Oxford Masonic Orphanage. Fantastic. I love stuff like that. Absolutely. There used to be quite a few in the UK, but the pandemic kind of killed them. And like most things event related, it's taking a lot of effort for things to bounce back. It's a great feeling riding a big group like that, particularly if it's for a good cause. Fair play to you, Santa. If you didn't get that, by the way, guys, Santa, as well as being Santa and the most amazing person on earth, he's also a biker. Right, question. Does the A and ABL stand for antisocial? Nope. It stands for Avernus Biker Lifestyle. The channel did actually used to be called Avernus Biker Lifestyle, but it was confusing like everybody. So I just abbreviated it. I've noticed that about Office 2 more than a coincidence. Yeah, definitely. I think, Johnny, it was your comment earlier about listing regularly not being part of the algorithm. Fair comment, but yeah, there's got to be something to it, and the sending offers out is kind of, it's a similar thing. Nobody can actually say, well, if it is or it isn't. I mean, obviously you've evidenced the fact that it's not part of the algorithm if you're listing regularly, but it's definitely more than, it's so much more than a coincidence. There's something in it, for sure. Tonks, that crossed my mind as well. Gordon may well be pregnant. Right, okay, I'm skipping now. I'm just going to look for anything with the word question in it. Question, is there anything better than double eBay notification? I will slowly pull it down and I hope it's a good sell. Yeah, that ka-ching never gets boring, ever. I got an email this morning. I had a little bit of a lottery win last night, and if you, I do it online, and you know that when you get the email and it just says news about your ticket, I just don't check how much I've won for as long as I can stand the suspense, because it's like Schrodinger's cat. I'm a millionaire in between receiving that email and finding out how much I've actually won. Incidentally, it was 30 quid. Ka-ching. Kind of paid for the complete cock up that was this morning's booth sales. But yeah, so just for that short period of time, I'm a millionaire in my mind. Shop, if we're all the same, it would be a boring world. 100%, my friend. 100%. Are you dating, Dave? I am saying nothing. I am saying nothing at all. Mahat. Right. Looking for question. Here we go. Sarah asks, I know that, but I meant when you're on your phone mid-conversation. Lost me. No, I've really lost that thread in mind. Sorry, Sarah. And there's probably so many. I'm not going to catch up with it now because of the amount of comments. Where are you in the bride registered? Not with you, Santa. Sorry, maybe I need another lie down. You can only send offers only ones eBay let you. Yes and no. That's not really a question, but yeah, there's a reason eBay let you send the offers. That's basically because people have expressed an interest in your item. They don't necessarily have had to add it to their watch list, for example. But there is another instance where you can just send an offer, and that's off the back of a message. So you can reply to messages with offers. Just as an incidental on the messages front, if you've on your seller overview on desktop, if you go to where it says items with questions or words, what does it say? What does it say? It says with questions under active listing, under listings, and on active listings on desktop, it says with questions. You should always make sure that that number is 0. You can actually click on that link and mark each question as answered if it's historic or if it's just sort of like the final reply to a message thread, but try and keep that to 0. There is instance where I won't say you get penalized, but again, going back to the coincidence thing, if you make sure that all your questions are answered in a timely fashion, then there's something in it that it basically stops a detriment to your visibility for your items. There's definitely something in that as well. So make sure you answer all your questions. Okay, moving on. Has David and I with the loose women and no conversation afterwards? Whatever. I don't know whether I should answer that. That's like the last question as well. It's like the last question on the thread. It's the last comment on the thread as well. Can somebody ask another question quickly so I can move on? Go on, ask anything, any question, just so I can take Sarah's question off the screen. Dave's looking very relaxed and chilled. I am actually, I'm just like supremely relaxed. Supremely. And no, I haven't sold those chairs yet, Julie. Thanks, Santa. Santa's bailing me out with another question. What bike did you ride in Germany? A Suzuki Bandit 1200. It's got a bit of a sticky clutch at the minute because I think there's a load of gunk on the clutch push rod, so that needs a bit of attention. But I didn't have to get recovered, and I love my Bandits. I've had about 6 or 7 Bandits now. I just love them. They're fantastic bikes, so easy to work on, loads of torque. You can chuck them around for fun. So yeah, thanks, Santa. I'm still not going to answer Sarah's question. I'm an ex-soldier and I'm 50. I suppose that probably answers the question. Hi Dave, question on charity shops. I know they have to make the money, but I'm struggling to find anything charity shop wise. Anything they have is way overpriced and not worth picking up. What I would say to that is broaden your search. I think on the last live we spoke about this as well with the chat. As a general rule, town centre charity shops are quite expensive because they have higher rents and such to pay. I'm assuming that's the reason. I suspect that is the case. So if you perhaps look out of town at sort of like surrounding villages and all that kind of stuff, your chances are you'll have a better success rate. But just go broad and don't prejudge. So the town centre ones, it's rare that I'll go into Chorley Town Centre now to pick up for that exact reason. You're just way overpriced and picked to death because that's where everybody goes to when they're sort of like, I suppose, winging it, even if they're not to resell. So yeah, broaden your search. question. Okay. Shall we do 2 hours? Yeah, let's do 2 hours. I'm in the zone now. So right, we're at 1 hour 40 now. 2 hours, pulling the plug. Has Dave had a night with a loose one and no Hang on. This is a bloody setup now. I'm not answering you either, Tonks. No. Found any teeth under the sheets lately? Just screwed a lot of you. I'm going home. Right, people are going to be very confused, but I appreciate that question for how long it's been going on for. One has to go dirt bikes, muscle cars. Muscle cars, got to be. Definitely. Cars are just tools to me. They do not move me in any way, shape, or form, but any kind of motorbike does. You've been away. That's why you look so well. Yeah, definitely. There's no suntans to be got in Germany, though. Believe me. Oh, did you say sticky crotch? Yes, that's exactly what I said, Rich. How many miles do you have on it now? They're not all mine, but it's about 34,500 miles now on my bike. And I think I've probably done about 12 of those, something like that. And yeah, you heard, seen my news, ABL group. You heard, seen my news in the ABL group or other Facebook groups? No, lead with that. I know. If you'd like to share with us, I'm more than happy to. One has to go classic watch or smartwatch. I would say I'm not a watch person. No watches. I guess classic watch, really. I used to have a smartwatch, but I didn't use it enough to warrant having it, so I sold it. But yeah, I guess classic watch. Two hours, that'll do nicely. Nick and Andrew at 8. It feels so much later. Yeah, I definitely don't want to step on Nick and Andrea's toes. That's for sure. Muscle cars rule, I'm keeping them. You can for me. It's the sound of the engines and everything. Yeah, but you just can't beat the smell of two-stroke in the morning. Dave's taking his ball. He's going home. Yes, definitely. I'm still not answering your question, but you've probably come to your own conclusions now anyway, Sarah. So we shall leave it at that. Here we go. I'm loving these questions. Lola, one has to go mohawks, mullets, man buns. Man buns for sure. Man buns. I just think they look ridiculous. And yes, I have had one. And yes, I am a Moffat. And last comment. That's not last comment. We've got a quarter of an hour ago. I painted myself into a corner here. Said we do 2 hours. What else have I got to share with you? So what else is new? New phone, iPhone 14 Pro Max. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant for taking pictures and for doing videos and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't going to buy one. I did have a 12 Pro Max, which has served me in good stead. I've built my business off it over the last couple of years at least. But I broke the charging port, so I just used it as an excuse. That's a good point, actually. If you are considering swapping your phone, it doesn't matter if there's an iPhone or anything like that, have a look at Curry's. I went there because my daughter is a store manager for Curry's. Not that I got any bloody discount. And anyway, that's a different story. I got £510 part exchange for my phone. Now, the resale value is £550. So obviously with the fees and all that kind of stuff, it would have been less than Curry's would have given me. And Curry's are not going to send me a message on eBay saying this phone doesn't work. You're going to need to send it back. So yeah, have a look at Curry's for part exchanging your phone if you're up to swapping your phone out. What's been your biggest reselling lesson you've learned this year so far? Biggest reselling lesson. Don't get complacent. Definitely. It's something I already knew. So technically I didn't learn the lesson this year, but it's been emphasized several times this year. So much so that it's sort of just making it part of my makeup. Just, yeah, don't get complacent. Don't think that just because sales are great that they're going to be great for the rest of the year, because that's not the case. In fact, so much I've been paying it forward for winter in terms of learning new things so that I can bridge the gap between boot sale seasons, because I think everybody would agree boot sales are probably the single biggest source of sourcing stock for most resellers. Yeah, so basically paying it forward, stopping getting complacent. When do I need to get a new hat for? That's never going to happen. I am never getting married again. Never, 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 never. I've never had an iPhone. Cool. Yeah, each their own. I like iPhones. I know lots of people don't. That's fine. One has to go. The Matrix 1 or Terminator 2. I would say Terminator 2. Both good films, but Matrix wins it for me. Quality chat as always. Thank you very much indeed, Ollie. I'm winging it now. I've determined to hit that 2-hour mark. Tips for good pickups, generous. Most people don't consider. I'm finding success with 35 mil as long as they check comps. Yeah, that's one that would have been one of my first suggestions, Jay. Another one would be lamps. Yeah, lamps, particularly brass lamps. I would definitely say it's something that you really, really have to check comps on. I know you should do on everything anyway, because some are just not worth the effort at all. In fact, a lot are not worth the effort. Brass lamps, vintage lamps, bankers lamps, which are ones that you can be used for on the top of a piano, say, or I think most people know what I mean. But if you type in bankers lamp on eBay, it'll give you loads of examples. But lamps, yeah, here's another one. Is that the StreamYard blur setting, Dave? It is. I only just found that. I've not done a live for a bit, Rich, and it was either this or I put myself in like a really, really nice mansion or in front of a brick wall. Okay, it's really difficult to click on these links here. Have you ever met any famous people, performers, musicians, actors, athletes? Yes, a few. Most recently, Russell Howard, the comedian. In fact, I just bought tickets for me and my daughters to go and see him next year. What a jolly nice guy. Jolly nice guy. Have you met anybody famous, Lola? Yeah, new StreamYard setting. Have you found anything which you bought that wasn't supposed to be there? Sorry, have you found anything which you bought that wasn't supposed to be there? I've found money in a few pockets of clothes that I bought. No, that's the only thing that's sprung to mind. I'm assuming that's what you mean, Dawn. What were you like in high school? I was Billy No Mates. Because you used the term high school, Lola, I'm assuming you're from the States, maybe? Yeah, I was Billy No Mates in school. I only really found my confidence when I was about 35. Before that, I wouldn't say boo to a goose. No, Lola isn't the new lady, and I'm neither confirming or denying whether there is actually a new lady at this stage, not without consulting her. Sorry. Right. I'm going to, in fact, I'm going to backtrack on what I said. Actually, we're at 150 now. So I'm going to answer a couple more questions, and then if there are. Okay, question. If you'll let me click on it. Come on. I think I've broken StreamYard. Boom. Do you sell on other platforms aside from eBay? I do. In fact, that's a very well-timed question, AA. I've been trying to up my game with my Amazon account lately. Historically, I've done very, very well with Amazon. It kind of fell off a cliff after Brexit a bit, unfortunately. On the route to Chris in Q4, I was selling into Europe a lot through eBay with the cross-border fulfillment, and since Brexit, not so much. And I found, in fact, this is like today information. I've been out doing a bit of retail arbitrage today, and I found that a lot of brands that was previously ungated in, are now actually gated. And it can be a pain in the backside to get ungated in selling brands and in certain categories. So this is, I mean, obviously we're in Q4 now, so the clock's ticking. I need to put more effort into that. So yeah, Amazon, sometimes, really, really rarely on Marketplace. I have sold items through auctions as well, the local auction house. It's quite expensive, and generally it'll be stuff that is that basically I'm kind of just want rid of, and it's a big or bulky item that's going to cost me a lot to send, or will be a pain in the ass to send. So yeah, but not. I did dabble with Vinted, Depop, that kind of stuff, but didn't really get into it. I'm quite happy doing what I'm doing at the minute. Good on you, Dave. Hope you're happy, mate. Absolutely. I'm full of the joys at the minute. So, ladies and gents, this is the last question, the last comment. Oh, where is it? I've gone. I missed it. There we go. Found $1,000 tucked in an envelope in an antique telephone I bought at a flea market. Now that is a win. That is a win. Good on you, Jeff. If only that could happen. If that could happen once a week, I'm sure everybody would be over the moon. Right, folks, thank you very much indeed for joining me this evening. I'm not going to stand on Nick and Andrea's toes, which they, I believe, are doing a live at 8 o'clock. So head over to Nick and Andrea Hill's channel for that. I will be in negotiations with Night's Life to see if we're going to be doing something for next Saturday night. So 7:30 next Saturday on the Night's Life channel. If I'm not there, Richard will most certainly will be. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for supporting this channel. It's extremely humbling. I will see you very, very soon. I'll have a video out for you next Saturday. No idea what it's going to be, to be fair, because I did bugger all. Well, I did some filming today, but it really, really went tits up. So I'll put something together for you for next Saturday anyway. I'm going to try and do some short videos as well, maybe some just sort of like basic tutorials, that kind of stuff. I'm on a bit of a tip really to get more content out. So just hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, you know the score. All the very best to you. I hope you have a successful week. And until next time, I've been Dave Keeffe. You've been amazing. See you soon.